Hello, hi, welcome once again to M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well, let's learn English together. Welcome everyone, welcome to the studio. We're all here, ready and waiting for you to turn your telly on and tune in. And now you have, and that's, well, Richie, what is that?
Fantastic!
Richie, do you know what? You're right, you're not wrong. That is fantastic, isn't it? Yes. Okay. So we agreed that it's fantastic that you turned your telly on and you tuned into our show. Great! No, it's not great, in fact. In actual fact, as we've just discussed, it's fantastic! Wonderful. Okay, so we're all here. I'm here in front of the camera, under the blindingly powerful lights. Chubba, the man with the cans, the sound engineer, is sitting on my left, listening to every word I say. Muddy, the director, is sitting in the big chair, monitoring everything I do on the special TV monitor thingy. Adam, the man in charge of the auto cue, the camera technician, is controlling the auto cue. Virag, the scripter, is sitting there on my left, keeping an eye on the stopwatch. Otti, the cameraman, is directly in front of me, checking that I remain in shot and in focus, and making sure that the white balance is correctly set, so that you see me like this and not like this. Oh, and last but not least, Juji, the brush, head of our makeup department, is sitting there behind Otti, the cameraman. And what's she doing? Well, she's also watching me on the special TV monitor thingy. But where Otti's watching me for position, focus and colour and white balance, Juji's paying attention to my face, seeing if I'm sweating too much. Because when I sweat, my face becomes shiny and my skin reflects the light. When I start to sweat too much, then Juji, the brush, dabs some makeup onto my face to absorb the sweat, so that I look more, well, human. Anyway, hopefully I look human enough for you all today. Now, we're almost ready, aren't we? Yes, but there's one thing left for us to do, isn't there? Yes, animals, assemble. We're following protocol here, and it's time for us to give the animals their instructions, their orders. So, Gusti, you know the drill, don't you? You know exactly what we want from you. You know exactly what we need you to do, don't you? Yes, that's right. What we need you to do is to calm down. Just settle down and stop dancing all over the place like a drunken gibbon. Okay? It's only for quarter of an hour, and then you'll be free to dance like a mad chicken as much as you like. Okay? All right. 1 down, 2 to go. Margot, Margot, you know what we require of you, don't you? That's right. We need you to not block the TV screen. So, okay, if you want to, you can sit on top of the TV set. We know you like it there. It's nice and warm there, isn't it? Okay, so yes, sit there if you want. Lie there if you want. But, and this is the important part, don't block the screen. Keep your tail out of the way. Okay? 2 down, 1 to go. Nigel, how are you today, Nige? Did you have carrots and celery for breakfast? Were the carrots and celery nice? Were they fresh and crunchy? Good. Now, Nigel, you know what we want you to do, don't you? Yes, that's right. We'd like to ask you to keep quiet for the next 15 minutes. I mean, we all recognize that funny, squeaking, snorting, grunting sound is, well, quite cute. But when we're here trying to teach people English and you're there doing a fine impression of a pneumatic drill, well, it makes it really hard for people to hear what I'm saying. And that's not very helpful, is it? No, it's not. So, Nige, we all know what a great, helpful bloke you are. And I'm sure that you'll help us all now by putting a cork in it, okay? So, Nige, for the next 15 minutes, cork it, okay? Yesterday, we had a quick look at how we make sentences in English. We looked at the way we put different elements together. Elements like subject, pronouns, words like I, you, he, she, and it, verbs and objects. We looked at the fact that if we're making a sentence in the present simple, we have to conjugate the verb. We have to make sure that we use the correct form for the correct subject. There are different forms for the third person singular form of verbs in English in the present simple. To conjugate most regular verbs correctly for the third person singular, we have to add an S to the infinitive. But if the verb ends in SS or SH or CH or O or X, then we don't add S to the infinitive. When we make the form for the third person singular, we add ES. The verb to be is different. It's irregular, which means that we have to learn the different forms of the verb for the different subjects. I am, you are, he is, she is, it is, we are, you are, they are. But as we all know, that's not very difficult. They're practically all the same, aren't they? I mean, the only ones which are different are the first person singular and the third person singular. I am, and he, she, and it is. All of the other forms of the verb to be in the present simple are. Simple, really. Now, as we also know and remember, with English there are a few times where we have to be careful with spelling. If we want to make a sentence using the third person singular form of a verb which ends in Y, then we also have to be a little bit careful. If the verb ends in vowel plus Y, then it's simple, isn't it? If the verb ends in A, E, I, O or U, followed by a Y, then when we make the third person singular form of the verb, we have to add an S to the infinitive. Easy. So that means that in the present simple, we conjugate the verb to say for the third person singular as says. When we conjugate the verb to obey, we know that in the third person singular, it becomes obeys, adding an S because the verb ends in E plus Y. If the verb ends in I plus Y, then we do the same. But I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I can't think of a single verb in English which ends in IY. I don't think there is one. If anybody can think of one, then tell me. Send me an email or call M5 and tell them and ask them to get a message to me. If a verb ends in O plus Y, like the verb to employ, which means to give someone a job or to use something, then we know that the third person form will add an S to the end of the infinitive. The Hungarian oil and petrol company MOL employs 23,000 people in Hungary, for example. MOL employs 23,000 people. Master Ken employs Ameridote combat techniques when he fights. And of course, we have the verb to buy, which, as we can see, also ends in vowel plus consonant. So we know that when we're using the verb to buy in a sentence where the subject is the third person singular, then we have to add an S to the end of the infinitive. I buy milk every couple of days, but he buys 2 liters of milk every day. He really likes milk. Now, okay, we've looked again at what we have to do with a verb which ends in vowel plus Y in the present simple tense in English when we're using the third person singular. But who remembers what happens when the verb in question ends in consonant plus Y? Well, as I'm sure you all remember, all that's different with these verbs ending in Y is that we don't add an S to the end of the infinitive, but we replace the Y with IES. So, if, for example, we think about the verb to carry, we know that when we want to talk about a subject in the third person singular in the present simple, then we don't say he, she or it carries with a Y, but we replace the Y with IES and it becomes he, she or it carries. He carries his lunch in his backpack. He carries his lunch in his backpack. She carries the rubbish out every morning. She carries the rubbish out every morning. This train carries commuters to work from Erd. This train carries commuters to work from Erd. And that reminds me, do you all know the verb to commute? The verb to commute means to travel from your home to work. If you live in a different place to where you work, and you travel to work every day in the morning, and then travel back home again in the evening, then you commute. You are a commuter. We get the noun from the verb. A person who commutes to work is a commuter. So, if someone lives a few kilometers outside a city, and they go to work in the city every day and then come back in the evening, then that person is a commuter. So, if we look at London, for example, most of the people who work in London don't live in London. It's too expensive and there's nowhere to park. These people live outside London, in the suburbs, and every morning and evening they catch trains, commuter trains to take them into London and then back home. A commuter train is a train which takes people to the nearest city or big town to work. That means that most commuter trains will leave the suburbs, the areas around the city where most people live, in the morning so that they can get into the city in time to start work. In the evening, the same trains will bring the commuters back home. Now, when we think about commuting, we also know that there are more people travelling than usual. There are lots and lots of people catching trains to get to work in the morning, and lots of people catching trains to get home in the evening. This means that there are more people travelling at these two times of the day. These times are what we sometimes call rush hour. This is the time of day when everyone is rushing about. Now, the verb to rush is a synonym for the verb to hurry. When we rush or hurry, we try and move or do something faster than usual. We feel that we don't have enough time, so we have to rush, we have to hurry. Normally, every evening, Dave Squid sets his alarm clock for 6:45 a.m. Yesterday evening, Dave forgot to set his alarm clock, and this morning, the alarm clock didn't wake him up. Dave didn't wake up at 6:45. He overslept. He woke up at 7:30. When he woke up, Dave panicked. He realized that he didn't have enough time to get ready for work like normal. Normally, Dave grinds some coffee beans, pours some water into the espresso coffee maker, then puts the ground coffee in the basket above the water, then he puts the coffee maker on the hob and turns it on. Dave knows that the coffee will be ready in 5 minutes, so he has a shower, then he brushes his teeth, then he combs his hair while the espresso maker is making his coffee. Okay. So that's what he normally does, but this morning, because he overslept, he hasn't got time to do things the normal way. Now, because he's late, Dave has to rush, he has to hurry, he has to do things faster than normal. This is what we do when we rush or hurry. We try to do something faster than normal. So, usually, Dave has got enough time to shower, brush his teeth while the espresso maker is making his coffee. But that's not the case today. Today, Dave woke up late, and this means that he has to rush to get ready for work. He can't be late. So, this means that he has to rush, he has to hurry. And on that note, we'll have to leave you for the day. Yes, that's right. We've run out of time and it's time for us to go. So, until tomorrow, my faithful chickens of the forest, remember that if you need more English, there's plenty of fun to be had revisiting the old lessons. You know where to find them, don't you? Yes, that's right. They're all at www.m5tv.hu. So, if you feel the need, check out the website. As I said, that's where you can find our old lessons and the vocab too. Right then, I'll see you all tomorrow. Have fun this evening. See you later. Bye.